Welcome to This Dementia Life, created by Dementia Action Alliance. I'm your proud host, Chuck McClatchy, and I live my dementia life with Alzheimer's disease. This Dementia Life podcast we will have conversations with inspiring people living with dementia and the amazing people that care about us. My guest today is Vicki Nelson, who is the owner of Twiddles. I'll let her kind of explain that. Her and her husband are dealing with Lewy Body Dementia. So Vicki, why don't you kind of introduce yourself and we'll talk about that amazing company that you run.
Well, thank you, Chuck. It's a pleasure to be with you today. I've had this company now since 2014, so been a little over 6 years, and I feel really fortunate to be, because of the entree it's provided me into this community of incredible people, both those who are living with dementia and their caregivers, who I think are some of the most interesting, committed, and inclusive people I've ever met. It's been a real pleasure. It was serendipity, really, that I find myself on this path with this particular company, because it wasn't but a year and a half ago that my husband Barney was diagnosed with Lewy Body Dementia. So I was already established in the with the business Twiddles. Well, it's called Q3 Enterprises, but the product is a Twiddle, and this is a Twiddle pup, and we have cats and classics and sports and all manner of different types of Twiddles depending on the user's preference. But let me tell you a little bit about how I got started. I was looking for a business. I had decided, I was at the end of my career in public relations, and I've been a consultant for a while, and I was ready to try my hand at something new. And I was looking at business opportunities, and I happened upon this product called the Twiddle that was created by a woman named Margaret Light. And Margaret was an executive in Chicago, Illinois. Her grandmother, was aging and was very close to Margaret. She'd always she taught Margaret to sew, to garden, to cook, to knit, do all sorts of things with her hands. And as this lady became older, she couldn't see anymore. She had circulation issues, so working with her hands had become problematic for her. And Margaret just sort of had a brainstorm and made the original Twiddle, which we call the Twiddle Classic, for her grandmother. And then her friends, saw it and were so impressed, but they saw an application for it in the dementia space. They had parents who were aging, and some of them were living with dementia, and said, this could be a real benefit for them, keeping hands and minds active and engaged, comforting. It's something comforting. It's they're made out of, cushy materials. They're very warm inside. And so it's like a muff almost. You can put your hands inside, stay warm for to address the circulation issue. Then on the inside, it's got this, it's a stress ball, they called it an orbit ball. And so your hands are inside, but they're active. They're squeezing the ball. It helps keep people who are sensory seeking to begin with. It can help keep them calm, in their just right zone, able to better interact with caregivers and loved ones, it can just be very helpful to keep them in the moment, calm, comforted, even when their loved ones can't be there with them.
That's amazing. How have the company grown since, you were kind of forced into this dementia with Barney and everything? How has that kind of changed your mindset in running the company and how you can talk to people now with something so important? Because one of the most important things I tell about people with dementia is to keep active, to keep thinking, to keep your mind working. Mm-hmm. And when somebody can take, something like that and have their eyes closed and still be feeling things and having sensory inputs. So how has that changed since you and Barney found out that he had Lewy body?
Well, I don't know that it's changed all that much. We did a lot of research when we started the company, which, ended up being, good to have that background and that grounding. It does, of course, give me a greater, I'm living with it now through Barney. I don't experience it obviously, but I see what he goes through, and I see how he addresses it. And it does inform, I guess I would say it gives me even more empathy. The fact is, I wouldn't be able to run this business the way I am right now if it wasn't for Barney. Barney is integral to my business, and so it benefits me because he has a wealth of professional experience in his background that has been brought to bear on making this business a success. I should say that we have sold more than 60. We're probably heading towards 70,000 Twiddles worldwide. He has helped with finding manufacturing resources and help me find a consultant to help me with the Amazon side of the business. It's just been, and it helps him because it keeps him active and engaged in ways that exercise him intellectually and physically as well, because he's sort of my shipment first officer. I pack the boxes, but he's the one who takes them to UPS and so forth. So it's been really great from that perspective. Very far down this road yet, and we don't know what's coming. And so it's hard to say really how in the long run the business will be affected by what we are experiencing in our personal lives. But we're on the road together, and we enjoy sharing this business. It's something we both enjoy very much. And so in that way, it's a real blessing.
That's awesome, because one of the most important things you can do for somebody that has dementia is keep them active, keep them doing things. And talking with Barney, he's so proud to be involved with it, and he's so proud of you, that you do it as a couple, and you feed off each other, which is that's what it should be like. I know that there was sad times when you first found out about the diagnosis, because we all go through that. And I've been around Barney, and he is such a positive person, and just kind of comes. How was it going through that low time, and then finally coming out? Because we all go through it, but everybody's different, and everybody's reacts differently to it. How was it trying to get through that part, with this and running a company and everything else?
As it happens, I have an aunt, my aunt Patty, who she lived with Lewy Body Dementia. As it happens, what a coincidence. And so I had some sense and honestly a pretty negative expectation about this journey based on that. That was some years ago, and Barney is receiving amazing care. He's got a great team at Oregon Health Sciences University, and things are different. In terms of what you're saying, the physical engagement, the social engagement, the intellectual engagement, we are really we're really committed to making sure that he has those opportunities, and he makes the most of them. He, at first, it was because I had that image in my mind of Aunt Patty. It was discouraging, and your impulse is to be positive and to you can't say it's going to be okay. There is no cure. There is no real treatment. And so, but you just want to make the best of each day. I knew that Barney had, I mean, we moved right away. We lived in a multi-story house, and I was told that wasn't going to be a good thing long term. And that psychologically he needed to be comfortable in the home that he had, so he wouldn't, imagine he'd been, was being held hostage somewhere that he didn't recognize or wasn't comfortable in. So we moved right away. We moved immediately after the diagnosis. We got the diagnosis in January. We were moved by April. In June, Barney had one destination on his bucket list, which was Italy. And in June, we were in Italy because we had no idea what to expect, how fast this was going to be, the twists and turns along the way. We just didn't know. And so we wanted to make the most of every moment. That's sort of being the goal every day. Some days Barney gets up and he doesn't feel terrific. It's hard to get going. But he's learned that, and I've learned that if he gets up and starts being active, starts doing something constructive, makes all the difference in the world. And with COVID, of course, this becomes even a little more problematic because there's not that many places you can go safely. So we were joking the other day that I think he had to go get inventory for me at the storage unit. And he's like, when that's the highlight of your day, I don't know, but it was, and we laughed about it, and on it goes. Now, I don't know if you are familiar with, oh gosh, Game of Thrones. Do you remember? Did you watch that show at all? Game of Thrones. There's this scene in one of the last episodes where, the good guys are all lined up and they're waiting for the army of the dead, and across this snow-driven plain, and it's dark and it's scary as heck. They're just standing there. They're just mortal humans, standing there, and they can hear, in the darkness from the distance, they can hear the White Walkers and the Winter King or whatever, the Snow King or whatever he was called. And you can see the stress and the tension and the fear and because of the unknown. You don't know what's coming. It's bad. It's not going to be. It's nothing you would have chosen. You would have rather been somewhere else. But you have a purpose, and you have to summon every bit of your courage and your strength of will, that human spirit, and to face whatever it is that's coming, and to prevail in however that gets defined. And I really see that in Barney. That's one of the things I admire most about him. He is, it is difficult from time to time, and it can be very frustrating when he can't find his glasses case for the 5th time today. Can't find the word, can't remember why he walked into the room, and but he deals with it with grace and humor, and I can't ask for more than that.
Oh, I've got to ask you a question. But what you just said about the human spirit, that's why I love doing this Dementia Life and talking to people like you, because getting through this is almost exactly what you said about you're looking at and what's coming. You don't know when it's going to get there, but you know what's coming. But yet you choose to live your life anyway. And you choose it to live the way you want to live. But that takes a family, and Barney couldn't do it without, support. And how much has humor, how important is humor in your life?
Well, I love to laugh. So, and I have a pretty unsophisticated sense of humor. So it's pretty easy. It's pretty easy. I'm pretty easy that way. But yes, you have to be able to laugh. And we do get frustrated. Don't get me wrong. We can butt heads too. We're not immune, but we've gotten pretty good at the end. Is this Lewy talking or is this you? and it can, Barney is fond of saying, he finds humor or laughter to be a good elixir for dealing with the challenges that he faces. And I certainly find it that way. And we're just getting more and more comfortable about talking about it. We're very open about it. I said, you didn't do this. And he goes, I forgot. Oh yeah. I remember now. So, and then there's also, we spoke with someone who runs a series of group homes. He has many of them that built on the Montessori model with a philosophy of what I do for you, I take from you. And so we have really put an emphasis on keeping, but Barney works hard to be as independent and self-driven and motivating, and he does things, everything he can do for himself, he does for himself. There's not been he got this diagnosis, so I'm going to now run around and tie his shoes and remember his coat and don't forget, I don't do that. And he as a consequence, I think it's his the progression of his disease seems to be slow, and his cognitive decline has been very minor to this point, and we are really grateful. And that's the other part. That's a key element of it. We are grateful for what we do have. We're grateful for what we do have, and that's tends to be the area that we focus on. And again, we're very fortunate so far. The decline is minor, and the pace appears to be slow.
I think it's because I feel the same way. I remember when I got diagnosed and Bobby looked up, all things about Alzheimer's and this and that. My life expectancy was 3 to 5 years. Well, that was 6.5 years ago. So, but I think being able to laugh, because in a lot of ways I was just like Barney. My frustration was starting to just eat me up inside. When I couldn't do something, I was my own worst enemy. Mm-hmm. Until I realized, and Bobby brought it out, that I'm not doing these things. My entity is that disease inside. So we named it. He has Lewy, I got Chucky. Mm-hmm. And by doing that, it really took that stress and all of that stuff and put it aside over on the table and let us laugh about it. And I think that is so important. And you talk to people who have been able to do that, and it seems like they last so much longer. Mm-hmm. Because the stress is removed from the family. You're able to talk about it. You're able to laugh about it. And when you're able to talk with somebody and make them laugh about something that's going on, I tell them a story that I was in a store with Bobby. She's my partner, and she likes bread, so she had a rye bread. So she's the one that takes 3 or 4 from the back to make sure the dates are all good. And I'm looking at it, and I said, "Honey, what's jellyfish rye?" And she gave me that look just like that. And it was the end where the flaps are all folded over. Well, what I saw in that mass was jellyfish rye. And it was Russian rye. And we sat there and started laughing about it. So there was no stress. There was no, oh God, I'm sorry I did that. We just laughed about it. Yeah. And I think the more you can laugh about things that are happening, the better off you are, because once you take that put a smile on somebody's face, they're liable to ask questions, and you open that two-way communication. Have you found that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Barney always has been very open. There's not a lot of, he's not a covert person in any way. He's very open, and he's not shy about talking about things. And in fact, I think that was one of that aspect of his personality really helped him in seeking out treatment early, which I think was wonderful. Because it has also led him on this path where he can be an advocate for people living with dementia. That has been a real advantage to him and to the community, the larger community, and to me. I mean, I don't have to wonder how he's feeling, wonder what he's thinking. I don't have to walk on eggshells, worried that I'm going to hurt his feelings or insult him, or he's going to feel demeaned somehow if I ask a question or make a comment. It's such a gift to be able to be open and honest and candid. From my perspective, that is so helpful. If the person feels comfortable sharing, I have a dear friend that I rode bikes with for years, and she's living with Alzheimer's, and we all know it, but no one can talk about it. She does not want to acknowledge it at all. Her husband's not allowed to speak of it to us. We had to talk to him because her writing has changed, and he finally said, please, you can never tell her I told you, but this is the situation. Well, it's not a problem for us as a group. We just alter the way we interact with her. We make sure she's never off the front, that there's always someone ahead of her, so that, because she started, she was afraid of being left, so she would ride through lights to get up to people. I mean, so we had to just, okay, now we know, great. She's always going to ride with us as long as she can and wants to. She's welcome to come. But it would have been so much more helpful and safer for all of us had we known. And she just isn't. She can't share it. She can't do that. And I wonder sometimes what stress that must be for her partner, Michael, herself. This trying to maintain this fiction where her friends, we love her. It doesn't matter to us. We just want to be there for her. So that's one of the wonderful things about how Barney has chosen to address the diagnosis and the impact it has on his life.
I'm so glad you said that, because that is so important. I ran across some people like that too. That's why I say that, dementia is not an individual disease. Dementia is a family disease, and it can consume entire families. So that's why I love having people like you on the show to talk about how you get through this, how you live a good life, how you know what's going on, but you can still laugh and enjoy every single day. Now, one question that I do have to ask you, I've asked most of the people that come on, if this is the first podcast that anybody sees after a diagnosis of dementia, what would you say to them?
Fear not. That's probably unrealistic, but your life is changing. You thought you were going to Portugal, and you are on your way to Switzerland instead, or South America, or somewhere. You're going somewhere you didn't plan. That just be brave, be resourceful, be creative, take heart, and take one day at a time.
Well, Vic, thank you so much for taking the time to be with me. It was a pleasure meeting you, and this was one of the best ones we've done. So thank you so much for taking the time.
Oh my gosh, that's so kind of you to say, Chuck. It was a pleasure meeting you virtually, and I hope someday to be able to meet you in real life.
Oh, I hope so too. I'd like to thank Dementia Action Alliance for their support. On behalf of This Dementia Life, I would like to thank you for joining us today. You can view other podcasts on our website, danow.org. Click on podcast. Please join me again for the most inspiring and amazing people on This Dementia Life. I'm your host, Chuck McClatchy, and remember, the brain may forget, but the heart never will. I'll see you next time on This Dementia Life.